impactful. And I think that that is a really strong way to do things, right? Now, there is a lookbook shoot that I shot that I felt was, a real, and by the way, guys, if you guys don't all know what a lookbook is, essentially designers every quarter, they come out with a lookbook for their new lines. I think that that is a really strong way to do. Sorry, guys. Right? So when we're bringing a client for a quarterly lookbook, so we're going to shoot like their fall line, their winter line, spring line, summer line, etc. We're going to then shoot something like this. And like, for instance, this was a client that, had paid me $30,000 for a one-day shoot to do a lookbook for her. And I put together some really dramatic lighting, but they were really trying to feature the jacket. And oftentimes, too, when we're posing, we need to show off the wardrobe because, of course, that's what we're selling is fashion, right? So if we're showing the fashion, we need to make sure that we're accentuating it and maybe the posing in a way that's going to make the fashion really pop. Right. And this is in studios. So it's, on white. It's very boring, but we made it a little dramatic and moody with the lighting, making it a little gray and dark and black. And then the models lit really dramatically. And we're really showing off that the jacket can be worn in different ways. It can be really elegant. It can also have movement to it. And expressing that with the pose is really important. Also, one of the things that you guys are noticing too on a lot of the images that I'm showing you is that generally the models are not looking directly into camera. Okay, this is something that's also, I think, one thing that I really want you guys to work on. Now, if it's a portrait shoot, I understand. If you're photographing a portrait, essentially a portrait is about the person. So you are getting the person to look at a camera because you want to see their eyes and it's about them, right? But if you're shooting something where it's a mod, if you've got models involved in any way, and it's like, say, a fashion shoot, for instance, or even a lifestyle shoot, I almost always have the models looking out, looking in another direction. And what this does is it gives more of a sense of timelessness. It also gives the models a sense that this kind of wonder and this feeling in their eyes. And this is what I'm interested in. Whereas if they're looking into the camera, it's so much engagement that oftentimes it's more about the model as who they are rather than the fashion that we're trying to sell. Okay. And that's important because, obviously that these models are, sometimes are really amazing, incredible people to work with that I would love to show who they are. But the thing is the clients are looking for what the wardrobe is telling, what the story is telling. So in a scene like this, we just shot this at our New York fashion workshop. This was shot on location at a $40 million mansion estate in Greenwich, Connecticut at the New York Fashion Photography Workshop that I directed in September following Fashion Week. And by the way, we have another one of those coming up this September where literally Fashion Week happens in New York. All the top supermodels come in from Milan and Paris and they're in town during Fashion Week. And then following Fashion Week, we are directing this mind-blowing high fashion workshop out at these epic mansion estates, and we shoot in studio. So posing is really important. And this is a workshop where I always print out a posing guide to showcase to the models and to the other photographers there of like, what kind of pose can we get out of those models, out of the talent there? Really, really important, right? And of course, on top of that, we have a dog in the scene. So shooting with an animal, we've got to also pose the animal. So getting somebody standing off to the side, posing the animal, making sure that they are looking in the right direction. And by the way, this is a question. I'm looking at the Q&A right now. Somebody asked, is this a real dog? Yes, it is. It's a real poodle, but we have the poodle groomed perfectly for this. And we also had them trained so that they knew exactly what to do on set. And oftentimes we are shooting with a lot of animals. This year alone, or I should say in the last 2 years, we've shot with Bactrian camels for a lifestyle shoot up in the mountains in Colorado. We've shot with alpacas at our Newport Beach lifestyle advertising workshop. We've shot with horses at literally almost every single workshop that we do. We've shot with little Pomeranians. We've shot with poodles. We've shot with hawks, eagles, falcons, owls. We've shot with baby lemurs. Our Virginia equestrian workshop, we shot with baby lemurs as well as kangaroos. It's been unbelievable the kind of animals we're shooting with. And we also have to pose the animals as well, because this is something that becomes a big part of the scene. By the way, this is actually an aerial shot of that location we were shooting at the New York workshop, the $40 million mansion, where they actually were telling us that they spent over $1 million a year just on their landscaping, which is absolutely insane. So anyway, and by the way, guys, I'm talking about all these epic productions where if you are interested in mastering your techniques and mastering your ability to pose models, we have a series of epic productions and workshops that we do this on. So I know this is a free webinar where I'm revealing some secrets and strategies of face nuances, body movement, posing guides, and all of that. But I also want to make something clear is that we also do some epic photographic workshops, including we have an incredible photographic workshop on posing, art direction, and storytelling. And this is an incredible workshop where this is a 6-hour intensive about storytelling, art direction, and posing models. And if this is something that you guys are interested in attending, it's an incredible experience. It's literally an involvement where we go step by step how to pose the models, how to get the most out of the sequence over 6 solid hours so you can master your posing, and how to storytell and art direct your sequences. And the cool thing about this, it's a $12.95. So it's only $12.95 to attend this workshop. We are offering a $300 discount if you guys enroll today in this amazing workshop. If you guys want to see more information about it, I just sent a link on the chat, and this gives you all the details and information about this mind-blowing workshop that is an incredible virtual workshop you guys can take immediately. And it also involves some posing guides as well. So this is an incredible experience. However, that being said, and by the way, all these models that you see here, I've literally booked every single one of these models for our photographic workshops over the last year and a half. And we've worked with them in LA, New York, Las Vegas, Miami for these specific models that we're looking at right now. And I believe 4 of them have been published in Vogue, which is pretty incredible. So, of course, starting with top models like that actually can pose and create some amazing scenes really does make a difference, right? When you're working with a model like Velena, who's been on the cover of Harper's Bazaar, she's been in Vogue, she's a world-class top model. When you're shooting models like that, she kind of already understands how to pose. And now all we need to do is kind of give her the nuances, right? Because some of the things she's going to do are exactly what we want. Some of the things that she's going to do are a little too much. But oftentimes when models this experience, I kind of let her just do her thing. So that's a whole nother way of approaching it, is when you have certain models that are so ridiculous and over the top and such professionals, sometimes you do kind of need to let them kind of just do their thing, and then you can coach them from there. Okay, so that's another strategy that I kind of incorporate into some of my my posing with some of the models that are at the highest level, because she has a level of confidence that is pretty unparalleled. And you can see her posing here with a horse, which, by the way, posing this horse is extremely challenging because the horse is getting, annoyed. It wants to eat the grass. It's tired. It gets frustrated sitting there. We might even have wind blowing, such as fans blowing onto the horse to make the mane go. And now, Velena, what you don't see is the behind the scenes. She's constantly pulling the horse down. She's holding its head behind and making sure that it's in the right movement. And then also oftentimes when you have a horse standing in one place and they're not going down to eat the grass, they'll start to hoof sometimes, which I wanted to capture on camera, which we ended up capturing this amazing hoofing sequence, which looked incredible. But all the different nuances with the expression in Velena's face, if you look at how she's posing her legs, and there's a little bit of a curve there. You can see the knee bend, beautiful gold dress. And then most importantly, the way that she's adjusting her face. It's she has a slight tilt with her chin, but she's looking slightly off camera. So it's not looking on camera, but even though her face is looking one direction, her eyes are looking another direction, kind of an inquisitive look, which I love this pose. This is one of my absolute favorite poses, and it's something that really takes it to the next level. By the way, guys, if you guys have any burning questions, I would love to hear them. I know we have a bunch of people already in the Q&A, and this is a live webinar, so I do want to go over these live. And if you do want me to even review your photography and your posing of your fashion photography, for instance, or even lifestyle photography, I would be happy to review it live and give you guys a critique in front of our massive audience. I think we're having over 300 photographers live right now, and I would love to showcase all of these some of these critique ideas over what somebody is already doing with their posing, and then maybe we can start to go into what we can do to maybe improve on some of those poses. So if you guys are interested in the Q&A, please, or in the chat, please put your website down so that we can see your website. And if you want it to be reviewed, I'd be happy to do that live. I think that it would be really cool. I just enabled that in the chat. So if you guys want to put your website down there, I'll be able to see it, and I'll be able to review it live if you guys are chosen for that. Okay, so I also am going to bring on some panelists today. I have an amazing photographer named Adriana Escalante, who's an incredible fashion photographer that has worked with me now on, I believe, 2 of our epic productions and created mind-blowing content with top models with me, which has been absolutely fantastic. And we're going to talk about posing with her as well. Anyway, we've got some great questions here. By the way, guys, this webinar is live, but it will be in rebroadcast. So if you want to watch this afterwards and go in depth about certain posing techniques and strategies, you can feel free to jump on and see it in rebroadcast. I think that that's a great thing to do. Also, guys, if you want to see any more of these incredible live webinars that we have recorded, I think over 70 of these over the last couple of years, please make sure to click on the link I just sent in the chat to everyone that's essentially to watch the recordings of the last 70 epic webinars on all aspects of photography, from retouching to shooting with top supermodels, shooting with animals, photographing all over the world. We're filming. We have content where we're filming in the Maldives and at my French castle that I own. I own a 49-room French castle in Marseille-en-Cambrai, France. And we also are doing some epic fashion shoots, and I'm going to go over posing models in front of the castle as well today. Anyway, so if you guys are interested in any of that information, we've got some incredible live webinars all in rebroadcast. You guys can watch totally free and go ahead and jump on that. And you can subscribe to that YouTube channel, because I recommend it, because we come out with new awesome stuff for our subscribers all the time. And by the way, I'm getting some really great websites you guys are sending in that I can see here from different photographers. Patrick, we got Travis Keys, Patrick Patton Photography, Daniel Hamilton, Wheaton Mahoney. We got all these wonderful photographers sharing with me all their websites. So please continue to send those to me, guys, and I will select kind of the top ones to critique, and make sure your guys are okay with me critiquing your photography live. And make sure that it is a valid website. I just looked up some of your websites and they're not even live. So I think this one, Daniel, I think your website's not working live. So just wanted to give you a heads up, the link that you sent me. But I would love to, please give me some great websites that I can review, and we can talk about some of your poses and what's working, maybe some of the ones that aren't working. Okay, so and then we can talk about what we can do to improve that. All right, so I'm going to start with one here. This is from a photographer, Renata Voci. Renata, I don't know if you're an Italian photographer. It sounds Italian. I'd love to know more about you, but this is fantastic. This is one of the photographers live. I don't personally know Renata, but I'd love to review your work. So it looks like you've got some content in Mover magazine, and you've got obviously some in studio posing. This is great to see. I love it. I want to just do a little critique here. So First of all, these really dramatic poses here, I'm loving it. I think this is a really nice dramatic pose that I really like from you, Renata. I think this really shows a lot of bend in the model's body. I can really see the shape of them as they bend back. I really love this, and kicking the shoulder back. And obviously it's a great model. She's probably size 00, and she can really work that outfit. So you're really showcasing her body shape in this scene. And I think that's a really strong way to do it. So I like that. Renata, really looks really great, and congratulations on getting that cover. But some of these poses I like even more. Like this has a really nice dramatic feel. I love what you did here, especially where you got this little shoulder flare that's coming off with the outfit, and then she's got the elbow kicked out. So this is another thing. This is a good example, Renata, of you posing a model that really accentuates her outfit. I think this is a really great way to accentuate it, because you're creating this beautiful S curve of lines throughout the pose. It's not too over the top, but it really accentuates the outfit. So I really like that. This one's a little weird. So I don't really love this pose, Renata, because it's almost like she's trying to take her head off and put it to the side. And it just looks awkward and strange. And also this center of her body looks a bit wide because of, she's got her arms up. So it innately looks like she's, a size 12 instead of a size 00. So that's something where a fashion brand would not be happy with something like this. It's probably why that one's not on the cover, right? That one looks a little strange. This is another one that like a common pose that I see a lot of photographers do. I don't love this one either. It's in a couple of reasons. One is obviously that makes the model too tall, and the hands are literally above the top level of the backdrop, and then you can see that. Now, of course, you can always retouch that out, but this happens always when you're photographing a model with their hands up this high. So I don't really love this. And again, the outfit doesn't really accentuate on the body on something like this. And also you cut off their feet. So, so some of the framing and the posing is not as strong there. And then the same thing goes with this one. I mean, this one, of course, she's wearing this giant dress, which is a little out there. I don't love the wardrobe choice on this, but also because it's so baggy. But if you're going to do something like this, I would pose it a lot differently. This whole winding up the and holding the arms above the head, it just kind of has an awkwardness to it. I normally don't do that. And then I like the bend in the knee. However, I kind of lose the other leg behind her. And then the outfit, it's making it look really, really baggy. So Renata, I think that one could use some improvement. But anyway, so you've got some really good variation here. But Renata, I think that we need to really improve on the level of quality of some of the talent here, and also some of the nuances of the poses. You've got some really great stuff in the beginning, but the rest of the website kind of falls off. There's Adriana. So I think that Renata, I would strongly recommend that you get involved in one of these epic photographic fashion productions and shoot with some supermodels and start winning some awards with us, for instance. And by the way, guys, I'm getting all these announcements of new award winners. I just heard that Evan Siegel just won #4 photographer in the world award. He's attended numerous he's attended like maybe, I don't know, 8 of our epic photographic workshops. And over the last year, we this is from the past year, we won 107 photographic awards in the One Island Awards, Lurzer's Archive, Color Awards, Communication Arts, International Photography Awards, Tokyo International Photography Awards, all these different amazing awards. And we won over 107 awards just in the last year, including the top 10 fashion photographers in America. 7 out of 10 of them were from the Photography Workshop series, all art directed, posed by me. So these are some of the posing tactics that I love, and this is what won awards. So this is a really good example of like, okay, well, what's working? What's working? What's getting published? What's getting, landing opportunities, and what's winning awards? These are great award-winning images. And the reason they're award-winning is the level of the production, the quality of the models, the quality of the epic fashion styling, because that's totally over the top, but also the posing. Look at the poses here. The poses are incredible. And the reason that the poses or the images are winning awards, it's because the pose is spot on, right? These are really dramatic poses that are not too over the top. They're not too ridiculous, but yet it has a sense of wonder. It has a sense of power, especially the female poses. If you notice, they're very powerful. The women look very powerful. I'm empowering the women to look strong and powerful, to own the scene and to wear these amazing dresses and to take it to the next level of the sequence. And there's also even a scene that John Wooten had shot with a male model kind of jumping off to one side where he's in front of a 1940s fighter plane. And we actually shot that at our Elite Masterclass. So these were all, by the way, shot at a Las Vegas workshop, the Elite Masterclass, and the New York Fashion Photography Workshop. So really incredible. And by the way, guys, I put on a great poll about if you guys are interested in attending any of these epic photographic workshops, specifically the in-person experiences. I listed them all out. We have some incredible ones in Newport Beach, which is on lifestyle advertising in February. That one's been sold out, but I think we could squeeze one more photographer in that. So if you guys have an interest, shoot me a message on the chat if you guys want to take the last spot in the Newport Beach lifestyle advertising workshop. We have the Las Vegas fashion workshop, which, by the way, I believe three of these award-winning photographs were all shot in Las Vegas. One's by Evan Siegel, Michael Weilet, and Joe Stratz were all shot at the Las Vegas workshop. This was also shot there. The cover of Gloss magazine by one of our photographers, Joy Stratz, which is amazing. So these are all shot at the Las Vegas workshop. That's an incredible high fashion workshop coming up in March. We also have the April Miami Beach swim workshop, which is an incredible experience where we're shooting with Sports Illustrated swimsuit models, Victoria's Secret models, models that have been in Playboy, the Guess campaigns. And this is an incredible production that we have coming up in Miami. And to give you an idea of posing on a different realm, this is posing swim. Okay. And I'm going to show you guys some video here of what we did in Miami. But also, if you notice the nuances of the poses, looking down, looking off, looking over the shoulder, looking up at the camera and playing with the hair. These are not poses that are too over the top. They're nuanced poses, but yet sexy, and really take it to the next level. You're holding a fern, looking off, looking into camera, then looking out, looking down, then looking up. All of these little moments I love. And then a little bit of smiles and energy for the little bit of that lifestyle sequence. I love some of these posing ideas that we did and incorporated at the Miami Beach Swim and Resort Lifestyle Photography Workshop. This is in April. We do it every year. It's one of the most popular workshops we ever do. And we shot this on location at a mansion in Key Largo. We also, this last year, we shot in Key Biscayne and also Miami Beach with the SLS Resort. So it's an amazing production and incredible posing. And this is another example of some really great poses. And I'm showing you video because I really like showing video because you can watch the girls move in the video, right? You can watch the way that they look, they interact. This is a little bit more of a lifestyle sequence. So it's a little bit less of the sexy, a little bit more lifestyle, which is a bit more on a way in which you would pose portraits and also like a lifestyle commercial photography and shooting something where if you notice, the models, look at this, they're moving into camera. When you're shooting a lifestyle story, we're getting more of that movement, that energy, that action. And we're also getting stuff where the models are smiling, they're engaging, and they're looking down, they're looking out. And then most importantly for posing, making sure that they're all posing at the same time. This is something that a lot of my photographers struggle with, is that they don't pose at the same time. Meaning that like some of the models are like spot on and some of the models are off. Okay. Meaning that, and when you do that, of course, the image is ruined. You can't do anything with that, guys. You've got to make sure that all the models, like in fact, we're shooting 3, 4, or 5 models. Sometimes I think we've even shot 6 models at our Miami Beach workshop in one scene. We've got to make sure all of them are rocking it at the same time. By the way, I'm going to share the results of that poll we just did. And it looks like you guys are kind of all interested in a lot of different workshops, but Newport Beach, Las Vegas, and the New York Fashion Workshop look like the most popular of all of our amazing experiences. But that's really fantastic to see. I'm also going to be showcasing and sharing a few more polls with you guys. And for instance, like if you guys are interested in any of these epic photographic experiences that we're doing, let us know, because I would love to get you guys involved. And I'm putting a poll up of how likely you are to enroll in one of these amazing experiences. So, and what I mean by that is like, are you ready to go? 10 being like, yeah, oh my God, one of these workshops would really take my photography to the next level. It would be an incredible experience. I'd really grow. I could become a better photographer. And the images that I photograph at that workshop are going to like literally be next level. I mean, that would be a really great opportunity for any photographer at any level. Honestly, it's an incredible experience. Or if you're, just kind of, half and half, like, maybe, a 5 or something like that. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I won't. That's okay too. But I'm very, very interested in hearing what you guys all have to say, because we have a massive audience on today. This is honestly probably one of the largest webinars we've done in probably like 2 years or something. So I'm really excited about all of the amazing photographers that are on live right now, and talking about posing. So now we talked a little bit about swim posing, okay? And swim is a lot of fun, and it's something that I think is heavily overposed. And oftentimes a lot of photographers, they go a little too much with like the sexy posing. I don't want to go too far, because if you're looking at even like Victoria's Secret, and you're looking at Sports Illustrated, and you're looking at like a lot of high-end swim brands, like one of my favorite swim brands is Venus, for instance. Venus swimwear, they're amazing. They even had for years, they had a Sports Illustrated swim line. Oftentimes they're not too over the top either. They're not too sexy. They're not too, wild. They're doing things that are a little bit more nuanced and classy, upscale. And I really love that. I think that that's something in a way that I really like to see, is just a little bit more nuance in the swim photography. And that's something that, I'm really proud of, the incredible content that we've been shooting at these amazing workshops, because what we're doing is we're creating stuff that's really good taste. I'm looking for good taste. That's what I want. And for instance, here I'm going to showcase a little bit. This is a sexy model, sexy bikini, but it's still in good taste as far as some of the poses. And this is shot in slow-mo, so you can kind of see how they're posing, the little nuances and movement of what they're doing. And this model, we're coaching her, but she's also doing a lot of these things on her own, but I'm guiding which direction her eyes are going. And of course, in fashion, we're generally not looking into camera, looking off camera. In swim, oftentimes I am looking into camera. I want the models to give some engagement and some energy into camera. And also being happy, being playful, being fun. If you look at Victoria's Secret, you look at Sports Illustrated, there's a lot of playfulness and fun and energy to the scene. So I want to create that. I also love scenes like this where they're literally like walking towards camera, right? And I'm capturing content as they're moving, and I can do this photographically or with video, or something like this where, they're standing there, but we're getting all the different nuances of the way she's tossing her hair, the movement that she's doing. And by the way, we're lighting this with an 8x8 foot giant bounce, which allows you to get a lot of different poses. Whereas if you're using strobes, you have to capture it. It's you're popping the strobe each time. Each set, each pop is going to be a different capture of a different pose. What I like here is that it's continuous. So you have continuous light, and you can just literally just pound, you can shoot 16 frames a second and just really pound the shutter and get as many scenes, as many shots as possible in that scene. So now, that being said, one of the things I did want to point out when you're doing poses is, even if like I'm shooting, 500 pictures of this pose right here, right? And I'm shooting this, I got 16 frames a second, and I'm just firing the shutter and getting all these amazing shots. That's great and all, but remember, when you're publishing the images in a magazine, or even if it's going for a fashion campaign or swim campaign, they're only going to use one shot, one shot per scene, right? So only one pose is going to make it into the editorial. Only one pose from that outfit change, what she's wearing with the green bikini, is going to make it for that swim brand. So remember that. So only one is going to make it. So you don't need, 3 or 5 or 10 shots from the same outfit. You only need one. So by the way, that's really, really important to realize. A lot of photographers make the mistake of having way too many shots from the same pose in their portfolio. Yeah, that's something to definitely be aware of. Okay, now this incredible day in Miami that was shot in Key Biscayne. You can kind of see a little behind the scenes. That's Priscilla Evans, our production coordinator and a top photographic consultant. So also, guys, if you guys are interested in maximizing, learning more about posing, art direction, storytelling, if you want to maybe even unrelated to the creative side, and you want to really jumpstart and maximize your photographic business and momentum session, really get your momentum session going so that you're kind of taking it to the next level in your photography. And you're just like, oh my gosh, like I'm ready for 2023 to be the best year yet in my entire career. I want to crush it this year. I'm ready to go. Then you know what? I encourage you and invite you to join us live and set up a one-on-one photographic momentum session with one of our expert photographic consultants, and we can get in depth with you about, and this is one-on-one, so this is totally free, and this is one-on-one just with you and one of our amazing photographic consultants, and it's just you and them one-on-one on Zoom, and we can even go over your images, we can review your poses, we can review your strategy, your business strategy. So it's whether it's business strategy or if you want to go over poses, creative, and critiquing your images, click on the link in the chat and set up your own one-on-one photographic Zoom strategy session, and we can do a full image and posing review of your work. So if you guys like this or you like what we're doing here live, I love to see it. All right. And by the way, I also want to answer your great questions. You have a bunch of questions in the Q&A before we bring on our amazing panelists. Okay. All right. Derek Colasso said, how can I have a model pose barefoot? Well, hey, here you go. This is a model posing barefoot. This is one where this top model, she's unbelievable. She's one of the top swim models down in Miami Beach, and she's posing barefoot this entire time. I love shooting models barefoot because they don't have to worry about the shoes. Oftentimes when I'm shooting a big fashion shoot and it's a big over the top, ridiculous high fashion shoot, well, that's great and all, but if the shoes are $5,000 shoes or whatever from Louis Vuitton or Versace or something, I have to be careful not to wreck them. And we run into this like at our New York fashion workshop. So sometimes the models have to be more standing in one place because we don't ever ruin those, those ridiculous expensive shoes. So I love going barefoot. And especially it works with swim as well as the lifestyle photography, not so much for fashion, but for swim and lifestyle, I most of the time do have them barefoot because they can move better. I think it looks more natural, more lifestyle-y, more fun, and it isn't so dramatic. I also don't really like swim models wearing heels. It just kind of looks too much, too over the top, too ridiculous. Doesn't have the right, it's a little bit trying too hard. And we got to be really careful for that. Okay, let's see. Desiree Rice asks, will a link be posted or emailed for this workshop? Absolutely. We'll send you all the details. Actually, just put it in the chat and you can, it's in the chat. You can actually take a click on that and you can go on and enroll on our website and get involved in the posing for photographers workshop, and you can sign up with with one of those, or you can jump on and let us know if you want to enroll. We can get you enrolled today and give you a $300 discount if you message back saying you are ready to enroll. You can message us on the chat. Okay, excellent. So thank you so much for your great questions, guys. Stephen Paul says, I want to attend the Newport one. That sounds awesome. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Stephen, because that's something we're going to go into next, is how to do high-end lifestyle posing, which is the hardest of all, guys. I mean, fashion posing, honestly, with a posing guide, it's not that hard to do. You just have to have the top model. You have to have great lighting. You have to have great wardrobe, and you've got to be able to coach the models and show them the posing guide. Lifestyle posing is a whole different beast. Okay, you're shooting with 2, 3, 4, 5, even 6 models, and it's a lot more complicated. And it's something why we're the only high-end lifestyle photography workshop in the world that offers workshops. And that's something that that's why we're so sought after, is because we're so niche with that on our high-end commercial lifestyle workshop, Stephen, and I'll showcase that and go in depth in that next. Sean Trace also asked, will this be recorded and sent to us? Absolutely, it will be recorded. It'll also be on our YouTube channel in the link that we sent also on the chat. Go ahead and subscribe to that. It'll be live within about 30 minutes of this concluding, and you can watch it as well. Okay. Okay. Another excellent question from an anonymous attendee says, is that the 30K in reference, she's referring to $30,000 in reference to your creative fee, or are you producing the shoot and that is used for payment for production as well? Or is that the photographer take home? Excellent question. So in the case of the lookbook, lookbooks are generally a little bit lower budget, right? They're not a commercial advertising campaign, where a commercial advertising campaign, it's anywhere from, my jobs are usually $100,000 to $200,000 for the budget for a 2 or 3 day shoot. For a lookbook, they're usually smaller budgets. They're usually ranging from $10,000 to $30,000 budget for the whole thing. So this was a $30,000 budget for overall. I think my take home of that was about maybe 20,000, maybe 10,000 in production costs, roughly. I would say it's usually about 60 to 70% as far as my earnings on a shoot, and then the remaining is going to be my production hard costs. That's if it's produced properly. Is to that, the extra costs, the hard costs, meaning the model costs, the styling costs, the location costs, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, so this gives you an idea. Now, I also just to curtail a few on the swim. Another thing I love to do too is posing sequences like this. And by the way, we're shooting with 8K cinema cameras because you're not only going to be photographing the greatest images of your lifetime, but you're also filming the high-end content as well. And you can showcase, this is some of the stuff where we shot from, showcasing the butt, we're showcasing the body, and we're doing from some camera movements up to down to up, side to side, and then follow sequences and making sure that they're posed properly when doing this as well. But obviously this is all done in slow-mo just to give you some of the ideas of some really great swim poses. But these are some really great questions, guys. Okay. Gideon Heller asks, how do you deal with humidity in outdoor shoots, e.g. in South Florida in the summer? That's a great question. Now, Gideon, one of the things is dress properly. I would say a lot of photographers are not dressing accordingly. They're out in the hot sun here in Miami and they're wearing, long pants, they're wearing long shirts, they're dressing too warm. Don't do that. I like to dress comfortably. I'll dress in, shorts, maybe a shirt like I'm wearing right now, where it's like a collared shirt that's got short sleeves, and then just make sure that you're constantly going in and cooling down in the RV that we have on production, which you can't see. It's right behind where we'd be shooting here, and it's got air conditioning going on full blast. The only challenge, Gideon, is going to be the equipment. So in this case, photographically, you're fine. But if you're filming video, which we are here with an 8K camera shooting with the Canon R5 on a gimbal, the camera overheats. The Canon R5 does. So it overheats very often. Now, I've had my R5s modified. There's a way that you can have them modified that you send them in to Kalara and they'll literally modify the camera and put a heat sink in it so that it won't overheat as much. But humidity is weirdly enough what overheats it, not the heat. So I could be sitting out in the desert in 100-degree heat in Death Valley, it doesn't overheat. I could be in 75-degree temperature in Miami Beach, but it's 90% humidity and it will overheat. So just being mindful of that. And there's not a whole lot you can do to counteract it other than to have a backup. So I'll have 2 Canon R5s on gimbals. One, if it overheats, we bring the other camera in, put it on the gimbal, and start filming with that. So that happens pretty often. These are excellent questions, though. Okay, so that gives you a little bit of idea of posing some of the swim models. And by the way, guys, if you have any other swim portfolios you want to showcase, that's another thing that we can talk about as well. Okay, now I'd love to bring on the great, and I get into some of your guys' websites in a little bit, but I do want to bring in our amazing panelist, Adriana Escalante. She's an incredible photographer. Adriana, if you want to turn your video and audio on, I'd love to chat with you personally and bring the great Adriana Escalante on. And we can talk about her and all of her incredible photography and her experience with posing. So Adriana, let me know when you are ready to go.
Oh, I am. Can you hear me?
There she is. Oh my God, so good to see you, Adriana.
Wonderful. Nice to see you too.
And Adriana, is it okay if I pull up Adriana? It's Adriana E Photography. Is that your main website right now?
Yes. It's fine.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, great. So I'm going to pull this up, and then what we're going to do is, Adriana, first of all, welcome. And where are you from, by the way?
I was born in Lima, Peru, But I grew up in many countries in the Americas, and then I also studied in France and ended up in the US.
Wow. Well, what a classy, sophisticated, cosmopolitan woman. Well, I have had the honor of working with you personally. I believe you came to which experiences with me?
I did the Virginia Equestrian. Well, that time wasn't called Equestrian yet. It was
the Washington D.C. Virginia workshop.
Yes, and then the one in New York this past September.
Fabulous. So you've been to 2 workshops already. That's awesome, Adriana. And you feel like you've learned a bit about posing models from the workshops. Tell me about that.
Oh, definitely I have. I think the one in Virginia was like very challenging for the same fact that you were mentioning that posing multiple models at the same time. And they're always in movement. It's not like in studio that even though you were mentioning you have you can have 1 or 2, but they kind of, for the most part, they step in a pose and they try to hold it or just go into another one. But with lifestyle, they're constantly moving. And to compose a photo where the model is constantly moving and multiple models at the same time, I thought it was my biggest challenge, and so much worth it to go to that workshop, because I don't think I would have had that. I mean, I don't think I would have had that experience elsewhere.
Fabulous. Well, I'm really glad you came because, I mean, you're already a world-class photographer, but look at this image. It's the first image on her front page of her website, top model. We shot this at the Virginia workshop, and the nuance here with the posing is beautiful, Adriana. I just want to make a comment about that. Obviously, the girl's face is incredible. She's a top model. We flew in from Miami. And by the way, we do these workshops all over the world, from LA, Newport Beach, to Las Vegas, to Miami, Chicago, the Virginia workshop, which is outskirts of DC, to New York, to my castle in France. But if the models are not, if there's an area like DC and Virginia, there aren't top models there. So what we did is we flew them in. So we actually flew in top models from Miami and LA. And Adriana had the opportunity to work with top talent that she wouldn't get access to otherwise, like, in that area. So it's really cool to bring in these top models because they really were working it. Now, this is a younger model who is a really top model that we flew in from Miami. But we really coached her into giving some really great expressions. Now, what was it like working with this model? Did you remember? I mean, what that experience was like?
Yeah, she's Arizona Rose, I think
that's her name. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I loved her. She's very sweet, very all the models that Kevin brings to these workshops are so nice girls. I mean, they're very patient. They are like very accommodating, and you can like work with them for a long time, and I feel that they don't get tired, but they do. But they're great to work with, and they're very receptive, and they really welcome your feedback. And I think you also learn a lot from them. But they models need feedback also from the photographer, like, this is great, continue doing that, or just switch your hand like this way, this other way. I mean, the photographer has a big role in directing posing for sure.
Absolutely. And Adriana, one thing I love about your photography is, you're a great photographer, but you have like, you kind of have a nice taste to the way you're posing, and I know, you have a few images from the workshop, but you also have some of the other images too. I'd like to see the New York images up there because the New York images are amazing. But also some of these other poses I did want to mention. I really like this one. This is you didn't shoot this at the workshop, but I do love this shot. And it just has like a really beautiful sense of wonder. It's got like the models kind of looking off to the side. You've got this really beautiful lighting where it just kind of lights the half of her face. But it's not too far. It's not too dramatic. It just kind of gives me a sense of intrigue, and tell me a little bit about kind of some of your thinking behind this pose.
Well, I mean, to be honest, in this pose, when I saw the light, it's all natural lighting, which to my amazement, I just can't believe I pulled this shot through. I mean, it's
Yeah,
like, because I'm more of a studio photographer, right?
totally.
So, and working in your workshops, that was also one of my learning curve to to do more fashion in natural light. It was like incredible. So here is when I saw the chiaroscuro, right, of the air of the place. I thought, oh my God, if I can place the model where her face is really in the light, but the rest of the body, it's not so much. So this is basically, and the light was low, so that's why she's down because up there was no light, there was nothing coming through the window, it was just below, so I have to place her below, to take advantage of that beaming of light that was coming through the window. But this was in a hotel, that's where she was staying. It's a model from Miami. And so she called me up and said, I want to shoot with you. I've seen your photos. And so we did. Yeah.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous. I love it. I love it. Well, it has a real sense of wonder and nuance that I'm really drawn to. And as far as the experience, when you came to this amazing workshop in New York, it kind of took it up a whole nother level, right? Because we're working with top New York models, completely over the top, completely at the highest level of, kind of fashion models and stuff. Tell us a little bit about that, about the experience of what you did in the New York workshop, because it's very different. It was more fashion oriented rather than lifestyle oriented.
Yeah, it was very high fashion. It was very sophisticated. The venues or the places where we got to shoot were absolutely amazing. This girl was just like, I don't know, she looked like computer made. She was perfect from head to toe. She was beautiful to photograph. The styling was amazing. And I remember the shoes that you were talking about, that when they're wearing like high-end shoes or luxury shoes, the stylists are responsible for what they're wearing. So they're always policing that we're not like messing up the wardrobe or messing up the shoes. So that is challenging, like in this garden, for example. And she was this stilettos by, I think it was Louis Vuitton. I don't remember. The boots were amazing.
Fabulous. Yeah, they were Louis Vuitton, and they were like, $5,000, $7,000, shoes or something ridiculous. And they were, and I think a certain edition or whatever. So we had to be really careful. So what Adriana's talking about is, it's not just about posing the model to look right. It's also posing within the parameters of the wardrobe. So if you're working with this level of wardrobe, and by the way, this wardrobe was pulled by a Vogue stylist, and the wardrobe that she pulled was pulled for Vogue. So, but she was working on our production and another Vogue production. So she brought the wardrobe for this major shoot. So this is the level of quality and production that we're talking about here, guys. So if you do want to get involved in any of these epic workshops, we take it to the highest level. I mean, it's something where you do need to invest in your photographic portfolio. And Adriana, you're genius because you're already a great photographer, but investing in your portfolio is the best investment you can ever make, because you're developing and building your brand. And what you shot here in New York with me, as well as what you shot in Virginia, really catapults your brand to the next level. And I'm really proud of what you're able to create, because now, Adriana, you're kind of can swim with the big fish. You can compete at the highest level. And this is something that she's really smart. She kind of took that next step. And I'm really excited for you, Adriana, because what's coming up next, you've already started to master some of these posing strategies. You've worked with some of these top models. I mean, look at this content. This is unbelievable.
I know. It's beautiful.
And this was all shot on location at a $40 million mansion in Greenwich, right outside of New York. And we also shot at the Vanderbilt estate in New York, as well as in studio. So, I mean, it was completely next level. So I'm really proud of you, Adriana, and I'm really excited. And thank you so much for sharing that insight. Can you give any maybe last strategies or tips to our audience about posing and what you've kind of learned, or certain things that they could incorporate into their own photographic careers?
Sure. I think if you're obviously models, know, for the most part, know how to pose. But there are some, and usually I think the models that know it very well are those that have very good body awareness and facial awareness. And you can tell one model from another based on that awareness. And because when you give them instruction, if they're like, they don't follow it well, you can tell, okay, she's not getting it. And a model that has good body awareness, and many have been ex-dancers or done something in their previous life that have taught them how to have that awareness. But if they don't have it, then I feel that it falls upon the photographer to direct them more. And but it is in but I think that also photographers, we need to give like precise instructions on how to do it when you see that the model is weak at posing.
Absolutely. And thank you, Adriana. That's some really, really good insight. Both situations, one where you have a model that is strong at posing, like the model we're looking at now, and then what do you do when the model is weak at posing? And Adriana, some of my guidance on that is if the model is weak and you're shooting with a group, like say you have more than one model and it's a lifestyle scene, which we're going to get into next. So guys, make sure to stay on because the lifestyle is what we're going to get into next. I like to bring on a strong model as essentially the primary, and have them model with the weaker model so that they can kind of bring up the weaker model. So that's what I did. And I don't know if you noticed that, but I did that a lot in Virginia. They were all pretty darn strong, but the strongest models, like if you remember Hannah Danley and some of the girls that could really bounce and move, I brought them in as kind of the primaries to kind of get the other girls going. So that way the strongest model kind of teaches almost the weaker model, and they kind of both pose better together. So that's one strategy. If it's a single model, now it's a little bit more challenging because it's just you and them. But generally coaching them, giving them more guidance, because the model just wants to look good, right? They just want to look beautiful for the camera. And if they feel nervous or insecure, they're not going to look as beautiful for the camera, right? So Adriana, the best way to do it is to, essentially make them feel super comfortable, make them feel beautiful and comfortable, but also give them lots of guidance. And I think sometimes photographers don't give them enough guidance. They just kind of let the model do whatever. But the models, from the model's perspective, and by the way, guys, I mean, I started my career as a fashion model, so I understand both sides of the camera. When you're starting from the model's perspective, you don't know what the photographer's getting always. So like you kind of want to just give them as much as you can, but if they're not coaching you, you don't know if it's looking good or not. So I think giving them feedback is really valuable. And if they are a little bit more insecure or newer, if you can give them guidance, and even if they are a top model, like these girls that we shot in New York, I mean, these are A-list models from the biggest agencies, from Elite, from Wilhelmina, from Next, from Ford, from all the biggest agencies. I'm coaching them, even though they've already been in Harper's Bazaar and they're already top models, but I'm still coaching them so they know what to do. And Adriana, I would even, even models that are very high level, still, the more you coach them and guide them, and the more guidance you give them, the more they respect you, and the more they're going to give you. So, you don't want to overdo it. Some photographers overdo it and they try to move every little detail of their face or whatever. But I like to just kind of get them in a feeling and a move, and then give them a movement or an action like this girl's doing right here. And then I have her do that action until we get it right. But and the reason I'm showing you guys video over photographs is that this kind of shows you in slow motion how the models are posing. That way you can kind of understand how to capture it the way Adriana did. So, and by the way, all this amazing video content, the photographers attending are shooting this content. So this is all done by attendees and photographers that want to get involved and not only photograph it, but have this amazing content for their video reel. In fact, Adriana, this is in the Dropbox. So I recommend you put this video on the cover of your website, because this video would really wow and dazzle the audience. You put this on the front page as like a splash page, that you're going to be drawing in a lot of attention from clients. So, but it's because it's really beautiful, beautiful work. But thank you so much, Adriana. I can't wait to see you at the next epic production that we have coming up. I'd love to have you get involved at Las Vegas, or Miami or New York or Chicago. And I just continue on this journey because you've created epic content in lifestyle. You've created incredible content in fashion. Now we got to, go and build a full 40 image cohesive body of work in each fashion and lifestyle.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was
great. It was such a pleasure, Adriana, and keep up the incredible content. I'm really proud of you and how great you're doing at posing.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay, guys. So that you guys got to hear from, a photographer that I've also personally had a chance to work with, which is really cool and such an honor. And by the way, please ask more questions on here. I love the chat and sharing with me as much questions as possible, and also websites if you want me to review them. And if we don't get a chance to review them, we can review it live one-on-one with one of our top photographic consultants that can have a one-on-one session with you, which I also recommend because it's a great way to really get some personal suggestions, guidance, and feedback. I think that's really fantastic. So excellent. So I love it. Thank you so much. And you guys have some really great questions on here. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Okay, we just have a few questions. Odin Hashi asks, adventure apparel brand shoot for e-commerce brands. So if you are shooting e-com, it's posing is going to be very important because e-com is basically, when you're shooting e-commerce, it's basically a lookbook, right? It's going to be, a model usually on a white background. You're going to be shooting them in all these different poses and then in different outfits, and then they churn through and they, you might shoot, 50 or 75 or 100, looks, and you're just going through shot after shot. And having the right pose can really bring those e-commerce shots to life. So definitely use a posing guide to really bring some of that content to life and get people really, get the models really going and excited on set. Anyway, I also have some great comments here in the chat, in the Q&A. Travis Thomas says, I've never seen a workshop of this caliber or talent. Very, very impressive. I'm an Adobe content creator, Sony advocate, and chairman of American Photographic Artists. If I could figure out a way to swing funds, I would attend in a second. Well, Travis, I'd love and be honored to have you. Especially a photographer with your stature, that's very impressive. And all your notoriety. And I'd also love for you to share all of this with your audience, with American Photographic Artists. And with Sony and Adobe as well. I'm sure we could collaborate on something that'd be fantastic, Travis. And if there is a way you can attend in person, I think it would really take you to an even higher echelon of your success. And I'm sure, Adobe and Sony would also love that. Sony was my sponsor for a long time, especially with my television shows, because I'm the TV director, host, and producer of the TV show Great Escapes that airs on CBS. And in fact, I'm flying tonight, literally tonight, to the Maldives. I have a 10 o'clock flight here from Sydney, Australia to the Maldives, flying through Qatar. And I'll be filming in the Maldives for about 3 weeks, filming some epic new content for my TV travel show, Great Escapes. If you guys are not familiar with that, I'll show you guys a little, some amazing clips of this. And by the way, this is something that I also, if you're filming video, you have to be able to pose, right? Because video also incorporates, especially for travel, a lot of amazing B-roll, which is the content where we're not speaking. It's the content of the host and the co-host, which is myself, and a co-host, and content where we're moving, swimming with sharks, or whatever we're doing, making sure that B-roll looks amazing, and it's a lot of posing, art direction. So we do it just not only still in photography wise, but also for video when I'm filming this, or also have a new show for Bravo that I'm filming at my 49 room castle in France. So that's something, if you do also, if you have an interest in video, we'd love to see that as well. And by the way, guys, I know you probably all can't see the chat and the Q&A, or you may not be able to see all of it, but I'm getting, hundreds of messages. I really love to see this. And thank you so much, Alan. He's saying this is a great class. Thank you so much. What kind of rates do some of the models get? That's a great question. So the kind of models we work with Elite, Vision, Ford, Wilhelmina, Next, IMG. If it's a big campaign, oftentimes they might be making anywhere from on the low end, like 4,000 a day up to 20,000 a day. And that's plus agency commission. So it would be plus 20%. So it would be, say it's, 5,000 plus 20% per day would be a common rate. And also the rates keep going up. The rates have gone up more because of inflation and everything like that. So modeling agencies are asking for more and more. And that's another reason that, it's expensive to put on these shoots. It's really expensive. So if you have, for instance, at one of our workshops, if we're shooting, say, 3 models on the first day, we're shooting, essentially 5 models on day 2, 3, 4, and 5. So essentially that's 23 days of model bookings, right? That's 23 days because 5 for 4 days, plus another 3 on the day 1. So you're looking at 23 shoot days. Imagine how expensive that is, right? Especially if you're getting their typical day rates of 5,000, 7,000, 10,000 a day, it adds up. So just the models alone can be hundreds of thousands of dollars, plus the production costs. Shooting at a $40 million mansion is not, it's not easy to get. It's not cheap to get. These kind of locations are completely next level, and it's something that is quite a challenge. And just to pull permits and to get access, it's something that a lot of photographers never even dream of or have access to. Now, I'm fortunate because I have built up my network over the years. I have relationships all over the United States as well as around the world, in Europe, in Asia and Australia, all over America, and I have access to $40 million locations. I've got access to some of the best, beach houses in Newport Beach, to epic estates and mansions, to castles, to water studios, to the most ridiculous stuff out there that we can really take it to the next level with your photographic journey, because having that amazing location can really help with, incorporating great poses. Because a scene like this, we're shooting in these gardens that are almost like, like Versailles level gardens. And we're shooting with models that can really pose and get the wardrobe looking, moving and getting into action, but in a scene where it works. It's not just a boring backdrop. It's something that's really interesting, and I want to see more. I'm intrigued. And if you notice, that's kind of a theme when I've been talking about photographers' websites and stuff. We're talking about something that's engaging with a pose and intriguing, and not too out there, meaning not too ridiculous, but something that's going to draw you in and get you interested in what we're seeing, right? I think that that's really, really important, is to just get people really interested and want to see more, right? That's what we're looking for, is stuff that where we want to see more of that photographer's work, or if it's a brand, more of that brand. So, okay, so I'd love to review a few more websites and go over some poses, and we can talk about it live here. So I have a really great photographer here that his name's Michael Owen. Now, this is a photographer that he just sent me his website. So Michael, hopefully you're on live and you can go over this together. But you look like you're a great photographer, an established photographer, a successful photographer. I love to see this, and to go over your website personally, to see some great photography. Now, you have a lot of work on your website, so I like that. You've got a lot of content. I'm almost going to say too much content, because you got to be careful not to overdo it. So I would like to do like an image review and critique with you and one of my top photographic consultants. Please click on the link to set one up, because you've got a lot of really strong work, but you also have some work that's not as strong as like this front cover shot. This front cover shot is beautiful. The pose here is magnificent. I love the girl. I love the feeling. I love the lighting. The wardrobe's looking amazing. It's not too in your face, but yet it's dramatic. You kind of have a nice, the way you retouched it in Photoshop, it kind of has like a nice feeling to it. I really like it, but the pose, it's engaging. And even though I normally don't like a model looking into camera, this one works. And it's not too handsy, even though she has her hand on her head. I actually like it. Okay. I think that's really strong. This is kind of nice looking over the shoulder, kind of have just like a looking off to the sides. These are, there's some pretty looks. You definitely have too many of the same model wearing the same outfit though. So for instance, just as a suggestion, I wouldn't have this black and white and this color image of the same scene with the same outfit with the same girl right next to each other. It's kind of redundant from a fashion brand, of a client standpoint. Now, some of this stuff I'm not so thrilled with, Michael. The model looked like she's a good model. I mean, she's not a top model, but she's a good model. But what I don't like here is we're looking up her nose. This is a classic mistake of photographing from the wrong angle of a pose. So she, and this pose might not look bad if we're standing straight on and we're shooting directly into her face or maybe slightly above. But when you're shooting a female model, I don't like to shoot up at them because it makes them look more masculine and we're looking up her nose, right? So that's not the best pose for a scene like this. Generally, I wouldn't shoot from this direction. I'm not going to shoot a woman from so low because it's too masculine looking. I might do that for a man, to make him look more masculine. But for females, I like to shoot straight on. I still want them to be powerful, and I don't want them to look, diminutive. I want them to look dominating and powerful. But when you're shooting so low, it doesn't really work. So in this sequence, I'm not loving it. This one's kind of interesting. I kind of like this as far as the background and stuff. The model herself, though, it falls off. I think that this could have been done better. The wardrobe choice is not what I would have chosen. I would have had maybe a more elaborate dress, and it just kind of falls off. But I like the concept here. I think you could redo that and make it better. This is really dramatic. I like these up close shots, especially if you're trying to sell the jewelry. That this would be like selling the jewelry, selling what she's wearing, the rings and stuff like that. The men are pretty engaging. This is an example of a little bit letting a makeup artist have too much freedom. Be careful with that. Oftentimes I work with creative makeup artists, but if they go a little too far, like in this case on the eyes, I'm not loving it. The pose and the ones on the left are a little bit boring. The one on the right, this one right here, this one's a little stronger, more engaging and interesting. This one's a little too dark. Way too many shots from the same scene, same outfit. Not loving that. And then this, it's okay. Doesn't really wow and dazzle me. There's a lot of images on here. This definitely doesn't wow and dazzle me. This male model here, not loving it. Not loving the expression or the lighting. So I would say that you've got a case of having some strong stuff and some weak stuff. This is stronger. See, to me, Michael, this has some intrigue. I'm interested in what's going on here. I love your really soft, dramatic light where it's like there's some nice backlighting. You've got coming in and striking across the camera left of her face, and then it's lit from the top right, and it's really soft and it's not over the top. I think you do a great job at that. I love the pose. This has nuance to it. Really, really strong with the nuance. These little blah, they don't really do it for me, and this just looks like a model portfolio shot, which is boring. That's another thing, guys. So if you're a photographer shooting model portfolios, that's not going to land you campaigns. They just won't book you. Like I shot for Burberry this last year. Burberry's not going to book me if my book looks like a bunch of model portfolios. They're going to look at my content if it's substantial and iconic. That's what's going to book me Burberry campaigns, right? And so, so if you're shooting and I'm going to give you an example so you kind of understand here. So if we're looking at this image right here with in the center here with her just, wearing that shirt and looking straight or whatever, or if you look at something like this, this has a lot more drama to it. The pose is nuanced. The model, the outfit is incredible. The production is over the top and ridiculous. This has another level of class and iconic imagery. I would encourage you to get more like this. So I would really encourage you, Michael Owen, to jump on and join us at, say, the Las Vegas experience, or to join us in New York, Chicago, or the masterclass, or at the 49-room French Castle that I own as well, which is also another amazing experience, which and whether you're a fashion photographer or maybe even a wedding photographer, and you want to, or if you just like shooting, great landscapes and stuff, that's awesome too. But the castle is incredible. It's something that no one else offers anything like this. Because I don't know any photographers personally who own a 49-room castle in France, but it's something that we are offering September 3rd through 8th, and it's a epic experience at a 49-room castle in France that I own. And it's something that you get to stay at my castle and have an experience of a lifetime. We have elite chefs. We have a masseuse on premise. We're going to be bringing in top models from Milan and Paris. And this is a shoot that I did for like a bridal fashion shoot that I did because I also we use the castle for I use it to book $1 million weddings as well. So this was something to market that. But this gives you an idea of the 49-room castle and what you can accomplish here. But a pose like this, very highly art directed. Okay, I art directed this in a way where I'm shooting it with beautiful lighting, beautiful model. This is German model, but I'm having her hold the bouquet, look into camera to engage, because this is more of a wedding / portrait kind of, shoot. And then she's holding the horses, but the horses aren't center frame. They're kind of off to the side, but it's really showcasing that castle. And it has all of those elements put together in a really elegant pose. She's not going too dramatic and over the top. This kind of gives you a little video showcase of what what kind of some of the sequences actually look like. I love doing stuff like this, over the shoulder, tossing the hair, having scenes where there's movement and energy, and creating moments where you're intrigued, you're interested, you're feeling it, you're getting involved in what that person is experiencing. I absolutely love it. Or if it's, a couple sequence, getting them to run, getting them to kiss, capturing that moment in time. If you're a wedding photographer, to capture something that is elegant and it's going to stand the test of time, because after a wedding's over, the thing that's going to last forever is the photographs. The photographs will be there for the end of time and for that couple to enjoy for the rest of their lives. So if you're a wedding photographer, portrait photographer, making sure that you're getting the most out of the person, really coaching them. And when I'm posing a couple or a portrait, I'm trying to really get their personality out of it. And I want to create a story. And instead of branding yourself as just a boring portrait photographer or a wedding photographer, why not be a world-class fashion photographer that happens to shoot weddings? And that's how I'm branding this right here. This would be something that would be perfect for a world-class fashion photographer that just happens to shoot weddings, because that will take you up a notch. Instead of booking a $2,000 or $4,000 or $6,000 per wedding shoot, you should be booking $10,000, $12,000, $15,000, $20,000 a wedding shoot. And there's no reason you shouldn't. You just need to be able to brand yourself as a world-class fashion photographer, knows how to pose, has incredible content that you can shoot with me, whether it's a New York workshop. A lot of people attend that one, wedding photographers, or if you want to come to the French Castle, it'll take you to the next level. So this gives you an idea of what that experience is all about. So it's an incredible experience. Anyway, so I've got some really great more questions I want to touch on and go over. So we've got some really good stuff here, and I know I'm not going to be able to get to all of your questions. Tony Philippic asks me, are you shooting video / photo in RAW and color grading, mood setting, and post? Great question. So just so you know, that video I just showed you at the castle, completely shot in RAW. That hasn't really been adjusted much. That was just a RAW video that we shot out of camera, and we haven't really color graded that one. But yes, I'm going to be shooting with Canon. And in fact, I'm using my SLR. Well, it's actually a mirrorless, but it's SLR style camera. It's not a big video production camera. It's just my 8K Canon R5 that I usually use to photograph as well. And I show you how to do that at the workshops, how to photograph and film with your photographic camera. And I'm shooting everything in RAW, and especially when I'm photographing, I photograph everything in highest resolution RAW. So I think it shoots at 45 megapixels or something, and I'm shooting everything in RAW. And then of course I then bring it into Bridge in Photoshop, and then I in Camera Raw to and open them in Camera Raw to make my adjustments. In fact, we go over that in detail in my retouching workshop that we also hold as well. So if you guys are interested in another epic workshop that's a virtual workshop, we have a masterclass in retouching, and this is an incredible workshop that I'll show you how to once you photograph in RAW, how to take it to the next level and make the images completely pop. In fact, I go over that iconic images that you see here, the one shot with a parachute. But as you can see, yes, I make modifications in post, but the image on the right-hand side is something where you can tell that this is actually the unretouched version on the right side, the retouched version on the left side. And honestly, it's pretty perfect right out of camera. But I'm just making slight adjustments to, the nothing to the pose, nothing to the background or anything like that, just to the color. And I'm also cleaning up the dress, the wrinkles in the dress. And even the makeup and hair is so perfect, I don't even really need to adjust that. So it's mostly just adjusting some of the wrinkles in the dress because of the wind blowing. We had like 6 giant production fans blowing in, so it made some wrinkles in the dress. And then making the color a bit more pure. So I'm making the reds more red, the whites more desaturated and white, the skin tones a little bit warmer, making slight adjustments there. But I'm shooting in RAW and then making adjustments. You can see this multi-layered file. So just to answer your question, but that's a great question. And thank you so much for that. Hopefully this helps, guys, going into some of these methods of posing, kind of taking apart and critiquing some of your websites. I absolutely love that because it's a lot of fun. And I think it really benefits everyone else, including the photographer that is on. So, and yes, I also, Wheaton asked, do you have a posing guide to share? Yes, I do. I have a posing guide. It's actually a great one. It's a Pinterest board. I love to share it with photographers because we use it on set. And I encourage them to print it out and then use it on your photo shoots. So we use it and we print it out in person and we show the models in person so that they can emulate that. Derek Colazzo asks, how do I contact models to do photo shoots? That's a great question, Derek. The best way to do it is to contact modeling agencies, okay? So now this is the challenge, this is the catch-22. If you don't have a world-class portfolio with epic award-winning images, and images that have been published and shooting with models from Vogue and Vanity Fair and Harper's Bazaar, it's pretty darn hard to get those modeling agencies to pay attention to you. It just is, because they're not going to be interested in some amateur photographer. Even if you have a budget, they're still not that interested. They want to make sure that you're a world-class photographer that they trust, right? Trust is key. Now, since I have been doing this my whole career, I have my bachelor's and my MFA to be a professor of photography, and I've been shooting as a fashion photographer my whole career, and I'm booking models for big campaigns and spending massive budgets on models and modeling agencies. I get to pick the creme de la creme to choose and select the best models in the world for my photo shoots and for the photographic workshops. And this is one of the big reasons the photographers attend our workshops is because they get access. They're essentially, you're not just enrolling to learn how to pose better, art direct better, storytell, because that's what a lot of my photographers tell me is that's the reason they come back. We have a 95% re-enrollment rate is because they want to master the posing, the art direction, storytelling, and they get to work personally with me, sitting next to them and guiding and posing the models and helping them get the most out of the scene. That's a big reason a lot of photographers take these workshops, but also you're getting access to my connections, my relationships, the best models in the world that I get to bring in and you get to photograph, because that will take you to the next level, having the best models in the world. It is literally the creme de la creme. So I'm really, really excited to bring in top models so that each and every one of you guys that attends can get the photograph, just like Adriana gets to photograph at a higher tier so that you can just knock the socks off of the clients. Because when you now go in and you contact Elite, Wilhelmina, Next, Vision, IMG, Ford, you can showcase your epic body of work, Adriana, because your work will wow the socks off of them and you'll be far more likely to book top models. Otherwise, the modeling agencies either won't talk to you or they're going to give you their crappy models or their new faces, their lower tier models that are not really going to help your portfolio anyways. I wouldn't suggest what a lot of photographers do is they book models that are their friends or book models that are their family or try to book models on Model Mayhem or whatever. It's a terrible way to go about it because those are all amateurs. You need to work with only the creme de la creme, the best of the best in the world. Otherwise, what's the point? And this goes for not just fashion photographers and lifestyle photographers. This also goes for photographers that are portrait and wedding photographers. Because listen, if you want to be a top photographer, why not have world-class models that, for instance, if you're shooting weddings, why not photograph with top models from Vogue in wedding dresses that will wow the socks off of your clients? Because I tell you what, if you can go into a wedding client, and show that you've shot a top model that's been featured in Vogue or or other major magazines. For instance, we did one at our New York workshop with a top model named Ginger, who's been in Vogue, and our photographer shot this in person at the workshop and got it published in Vintage New York City magazine. This photographer, Veronica, shot this because she's a wedding photographer and wanted to take her wedding photography to the next level. So what Veronica did is she photographed this with an outfit that we provided that looked more like a wedding dress. So it was a Vogue model in what looks like a wedding dress. So now she can brand herself as a top fashion photographer that happens to shoot weddings with this nuanced, amazing high-end pose where the model is feeling ethereal. It's almost like she's dancing, she's moving, she's whipping the dress up in the air, and she's stepping all at the same time. So this pose is super strong. Love a pose like this, and it got the cover of the magazine, which is incredible, and I love to see it. Okay. Okay. Great question. I also, another question from Gideon. Gideon Heller asks, what are some of the current trends in fashion photography? And also, how do you see the future of fashion photography evolving? Well, first of all, the trends, I would say, you got to be careful of trends, because the current trends are not going to be what's happening a couple of years from now. Okay. So, although we've had a lot of like the plus size models, and a lot of more like, more normal looking models and people and stuff like that, that's not going to last forever. So be careful of that, because what you're photographing now has got to be a body of work that's going to market you a year from now, 2 years from now. Right. So, what I would recommend is go for some of the classics, create images like this that are iconic. This image, by the way, was shot like 4 years ago, but it's still iconic today. It's a gorgeous image. It's something that's going to stand the test of time. I would say that for a lot of fashion brands have gone a little bit more either lifestyle, or it's like a free people kind of thing where it's happy, fun, healthy people having fun, enjoying life, or they've gone more like kind of like an urban fashion, dramatic, kind of over the top kind of thing. And you can see that in like a Balenciaga, and of course they had their controversy and stuff that created all this drama. But a lot of brands have kind of gone to that gritty kind of look and stuff like that. And that's great and all, but the thing is that going to be hot 2 years from now? So I'm always trying to look ahead. I would say you're always the safest, best bet is to create images that are iconic and that are going to stand the test of time. For instance, the fashion images, and by the way, this is styled by a Vogue fashion stylist who styled everything from Vogue. And we had this amazing wardrobe at the New York workshop, which was following Fashion Week this year. So we just shot it a few months ago. This is stuff that's very in fashion. It's something that's going to be, I would say we created iconic images that are going to stand the test of time. The wardrobe, the posing, the model, the background, shooting at a $40 million mansion. This kind of stuff, I think, would be really strong. And shooting with Louis Vuitton, it will stand the test of time, right? So if you can create images that I would say are iconic, it will make a big difference. Icon is everything. And when I mean iconic, it's like, think of images from Irving Penn, or think of images from Annie Leibovitz, or Mario Testino, or Petra de Machelier, all these incredible, great photographers that have created iconic images, Richard Avedon, iconic images over the years, and what their images look like and how are they iconic. They're powerful. They can stand alone, meaning like they don't need a whole story to guide them, gauge them together. For instance, those images I was just reviewing on those other photographers' websites, they might have one good image, but then they can't stand alone, right? I'll show you an example. We just did our Elite Masterclass in October, and this was from the prior year at our Elite Masterclass, but this is something that's photographed by one of our attendees, named Hans, that was shot on location at our Elite Masterclass. This is an iconic image. This pose, the art direction, the storytelling, this film noir kind of feel, this will be in years to come. This image is iconic. It's stunning. The pose totally works. The nuance of the faces, the movement of the arms, the movement of the feet, the location, the dress, everything about this is iconic. And this is an image that is not going to go out of date. So to my guidance for you, Gideon, is to shoot content like this. This will stand the test of time. and create something that whether you can book shoots right now and you can book shoots 3 years from now with an image like this. So I am also looking at evergreen because the cost of these productions is so high. I want to make sure that the images are not going to go obsolete in a couple of years. And if you're too much on the current trends, they can go obsolete too quickly. So you have to be very careful of that. So I would say the future of fashion, though, is definitely going to motion. I've been showing a lot of video. I've been talking about motion a lot. And I would say that the future of fashion and photography is basically video. Okay, it's creating video content. So make sure that at every shoot you're doing, you're shooting video too. Because this is what clients are all looking for. They are all looking for video right now. This is absolutely key. Whether you're doing fashion, whether you're doing lifestyle, this is something that is key and critical. And it's something that I want to make sure that you guys have a epic video reel and not just a photographic body of work. You've got to have a reel if you want to be successful as a photographer. So for instance, my reel, this is my production company, Indigo Productions.
There will be good times and epic adrenaline-filled challenges.
You can recognize some of these shoots. So it's a combination of my high-end video content from my fashion shoots, from our photographic workshops, as you can see here, as well as commercial campaigns, as well as my television shows, as well as commercials I've shot with celebrities. So it's got a mix put together in my video reel. This is going to be essentially the future, whether you're developing a fashion reel, a lifestyle reel, or a general overall reel, which this is something that is the solution to land big opportunities. This specific video is what landed me 2 Burberry campaigns this year. Even though it's not all fashion, but it shows a variance and it's so high level that it really got them interested to book me and then book me again. So this is what I would recommend you guys all do, is develop a world-class video reel. And it just so happens that every single one of our in-person photographic 5-day workshops, as well as a 6-day workshop at my castle, we will shoot with you. You have the opportunity to film with high-end 8K video cameras on gimbals, which are motion stabilizers, as well as drones and even underwater cameras permitting. We have the opportunity to give you the greatest video content and photographic content you've ever shot in your entire lifetime. So super excited, guys. And this gives you guys an opportunity to, and you can see some of the poses and the art direction and all of this. This is awesome. And by the way, Danielle Nowak asks, where is said castle? Great question. My castle is in Marcial-en-Cambrai in France. It's in central France. It's just a few hours, about 3 hours from Paris. It's about 3 hours from Switzerland, and it's about 3.5, 4 hours from Italy. So it's very centrally located. So I often go to the Alps when I'm there, driving over to Switzerland, or I can go down to Italy or go to Paris. But my castle is an incredible experience. And if you're interested in attending that experience, let us know. We'd love to get you involved. It's an experience of a lifetime, Danielle. And it's something that will completely take your photography to the next level. We're going to be doing 4 massive scale shoot days. We're going to be shooting with massive costume fashion apparel, where it's going to be, think about apparel from like the Baroque and the Renaissance era, as well as we're bringing in a carriage with incredible Frisian horses. We're going to be shooting on my 12-acre estate that's built atop a 2,000-year-old Roman palace, and there's still Roman remnants and all kinds of Roman artifacts. In fact, we even found the sarcophagus of the General Marcellus from 2,000 years ago beneath the ground. It's actually in a museum right now, but it was discovered on my estate. And also there's a 4,000-year-old Celtic stone, kind of like a miniature Stonehenge on the corner as well. So it has incredible location, beautiful estate, and 49 rooms. So it's a completely ridiculous over-the-top location. And since I own the location, we can literally do anything we want at this location for shooting. So anything you could possibly come up with, because the location is so ridiculous. And since I own it, it's unlimited on what we can photograph and film there, because there are no restrictions since I own it, which is fantastic. Because oftentimes when we're shooting these amazing locations, there's only so much we can do because it's somebody else's property. But since I own this, we can do whatever we want. But these are some great questions. Thank you so much, Danielle. I really appreciate that. Okay, Doug Hill asked a really great question. What has been your most successful strategies when reaching out to a cold client, one that you aspire to work with? Is it email, actual call, maybe sending a portfolio? Now, this is very off topic, Doug. It's not on topic with posing, but I will answer it. The most successful strategies is to create essentially a trifecta approach around the client. Okay, so what I would do is, instead of just send them an email, what's a lot of photographers do, they just send an email broadcast, whatever. Well, that's not going to work these days because everybody emails. I would say that that's maybe a start. I use agency access. I just paid for that. It's like a $1,500 agency access to be able to, I have the full database of every single decision maker worldwide that hires photographers. I have their direct emails, phone numbers, addresses, of the clients I shoot, if I want to shoot for Versace or Gucci, or I want to shoot with Saatchi & Saatchi, the ad agency, or David and Goliath, whatever, I have all their direct contact information. So I will set up a sophisticated email broadcasting campaign, and I go over this in our photography master marketing workshop that we also offer. This is probably the most popular of every workshop we've ever done, is the marketing mastery photographic workshop. And this is one that also it's $12.95, but you can enroll today with a $300 discount. So if you do want to get involved in the marketing workshop, I do recommend this. And I showcase my approach of how I land big opportunities at the marketing workshop. So that is something that I would create a sophisticated campaign towards LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I would, and I show you how to do it in this marketing workshop. I set up email broadcasts regularly, at least once a week. I'm also calling them. I try to reach out to them at least a couple times a week and try to talk to them at least once every week or every other week, and making sure I'm picking up the phone and calling to try to reach out and speak to them personally. I'm personally email following up. And then also, again, LinkedIn messaging is one of my most valuable things. I used to also send print promos, but these days, since a lot of people are working remotely, the print promos don't always get to their homes. So print promos, I would just suggest doing an email version of a print promo. Okay, so the next live workshop, Derek, he asks, where's the next live workshop going to be? The next live workshop is going to be in Newport Beach, which, by the way, is the next topic I wanted to get into. I know we have a lot of information today, but the Newport Beach workshop, and this is an incredible experience where we are shooting on location at multi-million-dollar mansions in Newport Beach with top models, top lifestyle models, and they are bringing it. They are bringing the energy. And of course, I have a lot of energy, but when I'm on set, I'm even bigger energy. So I'm pounding Red Bulls, I'm bouncing up and down, I'm jumping, I'm coaching the models, and I am posing them. Okay, because when you're shooting lifestyle, you don't want them to just pose and capture a shot. I want them to move and have energy and excitement and fun. I want to have interaction. I want to create stories. I want to have moments in time. That's what I'm creating. So the next workshop is Newport Beach. It's been sold out, but there is one spot that we can squeeze a photographer in if they do want to join that. So Derek, if you want to come to that, or Danielle, if you want to come to that, if you guys want to join that experience, there's one spot we can squeeze the photographer into. And I would be honored to have you come to this experience. This is probably one of the most popular workshops we do of the year. It's one of my absolute favorite because it's lifestyle photography. I know we've talked a lot about fashion in this webinar, but lifestyle photography is my favorite thing, and it's the most lucrative aspect of photography. Lifestyle photography is where you land the $100,000 to $200,000 campaigns. Okay, this is where the money is. Happy, healthy people having fun, enjoying life. Sequences like this, and by the way, posing a scene like these. I'm gonna go back to this one. This is challenging to pose. I had to literally run with the models. They're running, going back and forth, back and forth. We're in a strawberry field. We're coaching them into it. Now, luckily, these are top models. These are unbelievable top models, especially Hannah Danley, the one on the right. She's got this big energy, this big smile, and she can just work it. It's almost like I push a button and she's jumping up and down, smiling and giving it to me. And she can do this for 10 hours straight for days upon end. She can do this and doesn't break a sweat. She's an absolute beast, right? And then this amazing male model that's bringing it to me looking natural and energized. But a scene like this could be across the board. This could be a scene for a Free People campaign, so it's like a fashion lifestyle, or it could be a scene for like a health insurance or a pharmaceutical drug, or they're having fun. It could be like a farm to table thing. It could be agriculture. It could be health, wellness. It could be personal care. It could be a million different aspects, this is a critical and amazing way to photograph something like this. I love this, but it's coaching them into that moment, and then it's creating all this energy. This is a really challenging one. 4 models, 1 female. And by the way, this is Hannah again, but with 3 child models, and all 3 child models were very, very difficult to work with. I don't know why, but they just were not in it this day, and I had to coach the heck out of these models, these little kids, and luckily, using the strategy I talked about before, you have your primary model like Hannah basically make the scene happen. Because if it was just the kids and some average fashion model or something, nothing would happen. But Hannah worked it. She started picking up the girl, spinning her around. The girl would not smile. So Hannah is spinning her around, making her smile. We've got the little boy that picks up his little sister in the foreground there. Little sister was just, upset and crying and not happy. So the little brother picks her up and spins her around and runs around with her, and it really got her going. And I love this. Very, very complicated. But again, we're art directing a scene, we're allowing it to unfold and then capturing it. Now, the lighting is beautiful too, because I'm using a giant 8x8 foot bounce, but it's kind of secondary here. I'm more concerned with their poses. Right? I really am interested in their poses. That's really, really important. Okay. All right. So let's see. These are some really and here's like a video version of that to give you guys an idea of what it actually felt like to be there on set. The video, you see the movement, the action going down, and I love the posing here, the smiles, the energy, the feeling, what's going on with the models, and I'm just looking at the nuances here. Okay, now this is just raw video. I didn't even adjust this video. These are just clips put together, but I wanted to show you this. And then, of course, this would be some great content. They're a little far away here, so I probably wouldn't photograph them this far away. As they get closer, boom, there's probably a moment in there, but then it's too close. And then she's like this she's figuring out what to do. I'm coaching her. She isn't really posing just yet. It's just slow-mo. She's getting ready. Okay, she's getting the smile going. We're getting ready to, I'm coaching her and guiding her along the way here. Okay, and then, we got that moment. Flip to the male model. He's looking off into the other direction, pulling the horse around. He's not looking directly into camera. And then, of course, this is a video, so it's from the side. But it's creating these sequences. The photographer's on camera right, and then also photographing him leading the horse into the distance is awesome. Photographing the model on the horse. This is challenging because when you're posing a model on the horse, you have to have somebody that's super comfortable being on a horse. Not all models are, but also being at the right angle and the right height is a challenge as well. Or something like this, where the models are moving in, they're running in, they're jumping, they're smiling, and you only get a split second of the right moment. But as you can see, the photographer photographing this, and we're going to capture just the right scene. And then Hannah does some cool stuff the way she, on camera left there, where she's eating the strawberry, and then she kind of like starts cocking her head in a little bit and starts moving, and it's just super fun. So she does all kinds of like enjoyment moments. This is some interaction with the food or with products and stuff like that. I love stuff like this, right? But this kind of gives you some slow-mo version of a multi-model situation, which is very challenging. It's not an easy situation to photograph or film, but to get just those right moments. And of course, I'm shooting at about 16 frames a second to make sure that I'm getting as many shots and versions when the models are in the right pose. Love this. Okay, so Hannah, she's cocking her head right there. I love this. I think this is the shot that I ended up using, with the photographic version of this. And I'm slightly from camera right at this point. And then also from camera left, another angle would be really nice here too. But if you can just see the little nuances make a huge difference. Love something like this, the girl back with the horse, and you can see the way she's holding the reins, very natural, very real. You notice the theme here with posing. It's all about natural and real. That's what I'm going for. It's all about natural and real. I absolutely love this. Okay, another few good questions I want to answer while this video is playing. Alan Teitzel asked, how do you deal with wardrobe sizes? Sizes for a shoot and style. Okay, so Alan, what I love to do with wardrobe is, of course, I'm casting top models. So top models are all size 0 or 2. So I'm always going to have wardrobe that's essentially 0 or 2. And then I'm also, it's usually not even tight enough. So oftentimes I'm clamping it as well. So even double zero would be great. So when I'm, and in addition to what my wardrobe stylist pulls, so for instance, in Newport Beach, I'm going to have a professional wardrobe stylist there. They're going to pull all this amazing wardrobe from showrooms as well as from brands. In addition, though, I'm going to personally buy about $30,000 of wardrobe, and I'm going to use that for the shoot, and then I'm going to return it. And I'm going to do that because, the wardrobe stylist, I'm confident that they're going to pull it off, but I want to have more options. And this is what I'd recommend. Always have a high credit limit on your credit cards. You can buy and return wardrobe. It doesn't cost me anything. I just put $30,000 worth of wardrobe on it from either department stores, or I'm buying from Free People, or I'm buying from Urban Outfitters or whatever. And I buy all this wardrobe, have it shipped to me, size 0. And then I bring it on set, and then the wardrobe stylist opens it all up, steams it, incorporates it into what they pulled, and then dresses the models with it. And then at the end of the shoot, we, of course, keep track of, what each outfit the models are wearing so that we can publish it and submit it to magazines. And then after that, we put all the wardrobe, pack it all up, mail it back. And I recommend not doing it in person. It's better to do it online because you're not going to have issues with returns. Online, they're just sending it back to a warehouse. They'll give you a full return. If you're bringing it in store, it's going to be a lot more challenging. Okay. So, so definitely be aware of that. Okay. This is some really fantastic questions. I really love this. And also, you guys are writing in some great websites and stuff like that. I love this. Okay. All right. Okay. So, also from Travis, great to hear from Travis. He's saying, it would be my pleasure to spread the word and don't know. Let's see, he says, there's zero doubt in attending any of these workshops is a game changer and of any level and caliber photographer up to the next level. Would love to chat offline on one of these days and attend one or 2 or 3. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Travis, because most of our photographers, I would say the average photographer that attends our workshops takes at least 3. At least 3. Most photographers are always, it's 95% re-enrollment rate because they come to the production, they're so epic. And they're like, oh my gosh, where could I bring, if I was to produce something like this on my own, where am I going to find alpacas? Where am I going to shoot a multi-million-dollar location, multiple models, top models, wardrobe like this? How am I even going to figure that out? Complicated, right? And these kind of productions are so epic and over the top, people are able to make all of this happen. This is a challenge. And this is something where we bring it all to the table. This is something where we create these scenes, allow them to unfold, and then you get to capture them and photograph them and create the greatest scenes you've ever shot in your lifetime for lifestyle, for fashion, for swim, for beauty, and to take it to the highest echelon. And by the way, this one, I love this one. This one was just shot at our most recent Newport workshop. We did a whole roller skate scene. And by the way, this was challenging because these models couldn't roller skate. So I'm like asking them to do something. They can't even roller skate. So we just had them stand there and photograph them. And one of them is standing with one foot on the ground and the other skate in the air. And the other girl's just trying to keep herself steady. But it ended up being a great moment. Shot this in the rice fields with, the bamboo fields with alpacas. Amazing. Shot at a multi-million-dollar mansion with 2 little Pomeranians, my 2 Pomeranians actually. But you notice the wardrobe styling here is next level, and the wardrobe details here. And you guys asked about that, like Alan. These are really, really important to get the wardrobe just right because that will take you to the next level. Okay. So Alan also asked, do you book lifestyle for a client or do you build a book of stock? Absolutely, I don't do stock photography, Alan. Stock photography was dead 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Okay, stock photography, you're never going to make money on. All like iStock and Getty Images, they've kind of ruined that for photographers. So to make real money, you need to shoot custom scenes, art directing the scenes and shooting it as a campaign. I don't do any stock photography whatsoever. I shoot everything as a custom shoot for clients. Always, always, always. And also with high-end video as well. Also, we bring in a lot of celebrity models. This is CJ Franco. She's in one of the latest Netflix specials. She's the host of one of their new TV shows. She's a major a celebrity now and top model. We use big time top models, whether they're from Vogue or whether they've been in Sports Illustrated, whether they're celebrities. We have the creme de la creme that we bring on set. Sequences like this. This is one of my favorite poses. Something like this, where it's creating a moment, allowing it to unfold, and then capturing it, creating these insane moments and energy and feeling, the expressions, the energy, the moment of them boxing and wrestling in the bed. It's so fun. And I love this because it's so ridiculous, but I'm creating and posing some concept of what some young people could do, right? And this could be used for all kinds of things. I mean, it could be used for a housewares brand. You know, I could totally see this in like Target, for like a Target campaign for their housewares. So beautiful, because all these multi-million-dollar houses we use for our locations, for our workshops, they're generally staged. So they're perfectly staged. So everything looks perfect. So it just looks like, you know, just like you'd use in a, you know, for a housewares campaign. You know, it's absolutely perfect. Something like that, you know, or if it's a moment, a couple interacting, having a moment, creating these scenes or sequence with where I bring in a lot of vehicles. So like a 1960s VW bus, and creating these. This is a really interesting art direction because you don't always have to have poses where the model's looking into camera. This one is a great example of the model swooping her hair. And so it looks like real. It looks almost like I'm a voyeur looking into the scene. And by the way, all these photographs I'm showing you, they're all shot by different photographers at our workshops that I'm art directing and posing, but they're all photographed by different photographers. So you're getting different perspectives. But then you've got the couple that's interacting, having fun in the background. You've got the model that's, you know, the second one in from camera left, who's got this smile, gorgeous model, giving a great expression and energy. If you got the palm trees in the distance, it's a perfect image. Incredible art direction. This was also shot at the most recent Newport workshop. Great example of models moving towards camera, capturing with solar flare. Good use of animals here with the little Pomeranians holding them up. And then love something like this. Just having fun. Just shooting in somebody. It's an entryway to a home, but just having the girls having fun, enjoying life. And I also get their feet in it. They're even like doing a little bit of shuffle dancing and just living it up. I put music on, I get them posing, and then get them into that moment. That's what it's all about, guys. Love this. Okay. And Alan's just mentioning something about models being really skinny. And yeah, absolutely. That's generally because they are making the outfits look as good as possible. This is what fashion brands tend to go for. And this is going to stand the test of time. I don't care if it's now, 10 years from now, this will still be in style. It will still work. Brands are still going to want you. They're still going to hire you. So I personally would go down this route as well. Okay, these are all absolutely incredible questions, and I just this is another last one I did want to showcase with poses like this, where you're creating almost like the model's posing for the other model. So she's got this old school video camera. So you notice I'm doing a lot of storytelling in my posing, and I love to create these stories and create these moments, get them energized and excited, and then get them moving and having fun with each other. I love this. This is at the most recent Newport Beach workshop. So these are incredible experiences. Absolutely love these. And these are some incredible productions. Yeah, and Gideon Heller asks, have you ever filmed the live workshops and sold the recordings? We actually haven't. We don't do that just because it's too distracting. We're filming during the workshops, but the workshops are so incredible and over the top that I want to give my absolute full attention to the photographers attending rather than just a video recording of the experience. I want you to have the experience. And you notice the photography workshop series, it's not called the Kevin Michael Schmitz workshop because I don't want it to be about me. It's about you. And the most important thing to me is that you create the greatest photographs and video content of your lifetime, and that it's you that's going to benefit from this. Your photographic career, you can double, triple, quadruple how much you're charging for your photo shoots. You can build your credibility by having top models in your portfolio. You can take it to the next level and get published in major magazines. Every single workshop we've ever directed has been published in nationally or internationally published magazines. You can win awards and win photographic awards where we've literally won 107 photographic awards in 1 year. And this year we're rolling in with even more awards. So we're going to have hundreds and hundreds of awards that we can boast. I can't even keep track of them anymore because we win so many photographic awards. and you can create content. I do this for my photographers because I want you to create the greatest images you've ever shot in your lifetime that are iconic, that stand the test of time, perfectly posed, perfectly art directed, incredible production, world-class top models, and they're going to take you to the next level so you can compete with the best photographers in the world. And if you're interested in seeing Doug, for instance, you may ask, is there a place I can see all of your workshops and dates? It's in the chat, but it's photographyworkshopseries.com, has everything listed, and it's the most valuable resource. We have so many cool things on there, including example business strategy plan, which I didn't even mention, but it's something that I recommend all photographers develop. I did it on my, I think we talked about it on the last webinar, but we have an example of a 2023 photographic business strategy plan listed right here. I recommend you guys literally lift this off of our website, steal it from our website. Please do. Feel free to steal all of this stuff. I don't care. And make it your own. So just copy and paste this and then adapt it to yourself. This is an example of one for a photographer to make $300,000 a year, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. And these are all the goals and actions that they're going to do each quarter. Okay, so if you go through our website, there's all this juicy stuff, as well as all of the workshop dates from Newport Beach in February, Las Vegas in March, Miami Beach on Swim and Lifestyle in April, the equestrian lifestyle shoot that Adriana attended in May, that's in Virginia. We have the Chicago Vintage Fashion and Lifestyle, that's in Chicago in June. We then fly to the castle. I'll be at my French castle all summer long, and we'll be there essentially July, August, and September. And we're going to be doing an epic fashion workshop in September 3rd through 8th at my French castle with supermodels from Milan and Paris. And then we fly back and then direct a workshop in New York at the end of September, and then our Elite Masterclass in October. So if you guys are interested in any of those experiences, let us know, and also set up a one-on-one photographic strategy session to go over your images. And also, if you want to talk to any of our photographic consultants about setting up a, essentially, if you guys want to enroll in a workshop, let them know. But this is something that if you guys haven't done that already, please do, because we are, very, very interested in getting you guys to the next level and creating content where you will shoot the greatest images you've ever shot in your lifetime, and you will take it to the highest echelon of what you can create. And this is what it's all about. And also, all the art direction and storytelling is extremely valuable and important for us, because I want to make sure that you guys achieve that at the highest level. All right, guys. Well, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. I think we had maybe about 350 photographers live in total that have joined us today live. Plus, we're going to have several thousand in rebroadcast. And if you are watching this in rebroadcast, make sure to also set up a one-on-one photographic strategy session. We'll put the link in the YouTube channel, and also watch all of our epic other photographic webinars that are totally free. We have a library of over 70 that are absolutely incredible. And I fly to the Maldives tonight, and I'm going to be broadcasting live from the Maldives coming up. And we're going to do another epic webinar, and we will reveal some secret strategies of filming and photographing on location in the Maldives at an ultra luxury 5-star, I would even say 7-star luxury resort at the highest level, and be able to achieve high-end resort content like we're showing today. Thank you so much, guys. Make sure to utilize nuance in your poses. Make sure it's all about art direction. Don't always have the models looking into camera, and create something where it has a sense of intrigue when you're shooting fashion or swim, and when you're shooting lifestyle.